All right, let's just get right into it. If you've ever tried to build something, actually ambitious with an AI coding assistant, you've probably hit that wall, right? It starts off like magic, but then it just spirals into this chaotic mess of confused context and code that goes nowhere. So what if there was a structured, repeatable way to tame that chaos?
See, the problem is this approach that so many of us fall into. You could call it vibe coding. It's that whole unstructured, let's just throw a prompt at it and see what happens style. And look, it's awesome for flashy demos, but the second you try to build a real scalable product, it just completely falls apart. It's super frustrating, and honestly, it's a common dead end.
And I'm not just making this up, this is a real shared pain point. This quote here is from a Reddit user who actually managed to recreate Plants vs. Zombies using a new method. But look at what they said. They failed over and over and over again with that unstructured approach before they finally found a better way.
So it really comes down to this massive contrast, right? On one side, you've got the total chaos of vibe coding, one-shot prompts, unscalable, perfect for demos, and not much else. And on the other side, you have the BMAD method, which is structured, it's iterative, and it's built from the ground up for making real products. It's a totally different way of thinking.
And this brings us to the absolute core idea behind the whole solution. What if you stop treating AI like a single jack-of-all-trades assistant, and instead, you started thinking of it like a specialized project team with different experts for different jobs?
Well, that's exactly what the BMAD method is all about. It stands for the Breakthrough Method for Agile AI-driven Development, BMAD for short. And its whole concept is to help you build your very own AI dream team, where every single member has a specific, critical role to play in the development lifecycle.
Now, the building blocks of this team are what we call AI agents. And the key thing to get here is that an agent isn't just some one-off prompt you throw away. No, it's a reusable, specialized tool. It has its own persona, its own expertise. Think of it like a specialist you have on speed dial for a very specific job, project after project.
So, who's on this dream team? Well, first up, you've got the analyst, who's there for brainstorming. Then, the product manager comes in and turns those vague ideas into a rock-solid plan. After that, the architect designs the technical blueprint, the whole system. And finally, the developer takes that blueprint and just writes the code, one focused, bite-sized piece at a time. Each one hands off their work to the next, just like a real-world Agile team.
And this team structure isn't just for show. It actually creates this highly organized process that guides you all the way from a tiny spark of an idea to a fully finished product. It gives you a clear, repeatable path you can follow for pretty much any project you can dream up.
So the workflow itself breaks down into 4 really clear steps. You brainstorm, you plan, you design, and then you build. Simple, right? But the magic is that each step is handled by the right specialist, which ensures you get quality and focus at every single stage of the project. It's logical, it's effective, and it just works.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This hierarchy looks a little intense at first glance, but this right here is the secret sauce that makes the whole method so powerful. It's really just a way of breaking a project down from the highest level, the module, all the way down to the tiniest little task. And in between, you've got things like tracks for different project complexities and phases for different stages. It's basically a filing system for your entire project to keep everything perfectly organized.
And why does all that structure even matter? Because that's what lets this method scale. You can use a simple quick-flow track for a small bug fix, or you can fire up the full enterprise track for a massive complex application. The underlying system just adapts to whatever you throw at it.
Okay, so the theory is solid, it sounds great, but what about the results? Let's take a look at the proof, because this structured approach is delivering in a big way out in the real world.
The social proof is just staggering. As of right now, the BMAD method's public repo has over 26,000 stars on GitHub. That's not just a handful of people thinking it's cool. That is a massive community of developers who have found this thing so valuable that they've publicly endorsed it.
And the projects people are building with this are incredibly diverse. You've got developers with zero game dev experience recreating complex games, a clinical psychologist using it for their professional work, and hardcore engineers building sophisticated developer tools. It just shows how versatile this framework really is.
The technical wins here are just as compelling. By splitting up the work between different agents, you prevent what's called context pollution. That's when the AI just gets totally confused by too much information. This keeps the AI focused, it cuts down on errors and those weird hallucinations, and it gives you a consistent process for the entire development lifecycle, not just for spitting out code. But here's the really cool part.
This method isn't just sitting still, it's evolving right alongside the AI models it uses. And the next step is a huge leap forward in how these agents can collaborate.
So the next evolution, and we're seeing this in recent updates for tools like Claude Code, is this concept of sub-agents. Just imagine each of your team members, the analyst, the PM, the dev, running in their own completely isolated environment, ready to be called upon by a master orchestrator whenever they're needed. And the excitement around this idea is real. The creator of the BMAD method himself, Brian, is calling this a potential game changer. It's taking that whole AI dream team idea and cranking it up to a whole new level of power and efficiency.
This new sub-agent approach unlocks some actual superpowers. First, each agent gets its own dedicated context window, which basically solves that whole context pollution problem for good. You also get incredibly fine-grained control, letting you decide exactly what tools and files each agent can touch. And maybe best of all, these little specialist agents become reusable assets you can deploy in all your future projects.
So really, here's the bottom line. We're moving away from chaotic, one-off prompting and into an era of structured orchestration. We're building specialized AI teams that can tackle projects of any size and complexity. And that really just leaves one final question for you. If you had this kind of power at your fingertips, what's that one ambitious project you would finally bring to life?